guys, it's me Narelle here, and welcome back to a new video. This is actually going to be part 2 of my little sketchbook motivation series. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'm doing a 5-part video pretty much talking about ways you can stay motivated in your sketchbook, because I feel like with the art side of YouTube, a lot of people can get easily disheartened, being like, yo, this person's sketchbook is so good, their sketches are so on fleek, why isn't my sketchbook like that? Why can I do that? And you tend to like burn yourself out because you feel like your sketchbooks are not good enough. So I feel like the point of this video is just, here are some 5 ways to keep yourself motivated in your sketchbook, So the first part was actually redrawing your old artwork, and the second part is actually going to be fan art. Fan art is a very touchy subject on the art side of town, but I feel like as touchy as people make it seem like, fan art can be the perfect way to keep you motivated in your sketchbook. For this video, I actually have just been on a Udi on Ice high. I don't know why, but I've just been on Udi on Ice high, and I'm living for it all the way. So, I'm actually going to be coloring this little doodle. I did a Viccha from Yuri on Ice, all in gouache. I've just been into gouache a lot too, so I'm trying to mix it up with a show I'm living for right now, and a art supply I'm equally living for right now. So I actually sketched this out with my erasable colored pencil by Crayola. I don't know where it's at. It's somewhere around me. And then I'll be coloring over it with gouache. This is actually a picture I found on Google. I will most definitely put it on the screen so you guys can see how the original looks compared to this one. But this is actually my new sketchbook. I'm just doing this to test out the sketchbook really, while drawing a very handsome and sexy man and just doing something that'll make me happy. So it's like a 3-in-1 deal. Alrighty guys, so just for a disclaimer, yes, I have seen Yuri on Ice. It's not my first rodeo with the show. I pretty much seen it when it first came out, and I bought the limited box collector's edition of the show. So I believe I've watched Yuri on Ice 3 times full way through. So for all of you guys that are like, oh my gosh, Tyrell, you just got into it, you're too late, hunty. I've already seen it almost 4 times. I might rewatch it again because it's such a beautiful show. So if you guys have never seen Yuri on Ice before, please go watch it. It's amazing and it's so cute. I just can't get over the cuteness of this show. So what you're seeing me do now is the base colors, because with any paint thing, with any like color pencil thing, anything art supply, you always have to have your base colors, because base colors is really magical when it comes to putting your shadows down, how dark you need it to be, and all that good stuff. So I literally do base colors like nobody's business whenever I go into gouache paintings. So you're seeing me layer the peach down, and then I'm going over the peach with a white gouache. When you're actually seeing it now, you're like, oh my gosh, Nyrel, it has no effect. But later on, gouache does dry light. So yes, guys, gouache dries lighter than what you see it, and acrylic dries darker for what you see it. So right now, you're like, wow, I can't really see the effect of it. But later on, you're going to see the effect of the white gouache. So I highly recommend you guys to buy white gouache. White did come with the Himi gouache set, but I feel like the white got dirty way too quick. Oh my gosh, it got dirty way too quick. So I actually bought me a separate tube of white gouache paint but it's the M. Graham brand, which I think is a lot easier. So I highly recommend you guys, if you do have the Himi gouache set, to just buy a separate tube of white gouache, because it legit saves your lives. So I honestly think that was the best choice I did so far. But for the flat coloring, there's not really much to it. Just find similar colors that are in the reference picture, flat color it out, and then you go on from there. Alrighty, so now I'm going into the darker shade part 1 because with the gouache, I actually shade legit almost 100 times because sometimes the colors are dark, but you just can't get it dark enough. So for me personally, I get the darker pass once through, and then once I see it dried, I can easily see, hey, you know, it's not dark enough, and I go over it again. With peach, it is kind of a tricky color to actually get darker, so when I actually do like 1 or 2 shades of peach, I go over it with a brown color, and if I really want to enhance the brown, I go over it with the red color because the red really does fleshen up the skin tone. But since the reference of Viccha is actually pretty white, I didn't go heavy with the darks because, you know, it would have looked weird. So yeah, so I actually did go over the peach with a white mixed with yellow because it makes the skin look a lot more alive that way. I add yellow in every skin tone that I do because it just makes it look alive, so that is what I'm doing now. And I would say do not get scared with your pencil marks being erased because it's paint. It's going to go over the pencil marks, but that's why I would recommend you draw with a darker pencil because your pencil marks will stay. And that's one of the main reasons why I didn't want to get into gouache, because I was like, oh my gosh, if I can't see my pencil marks, I'm screwed. I don't know how to color my art, you know, but it's very much so untrue that your pencil marks disappear. As long as you draw with a darker pencil, it's fine. So when I'm going into Viccha's clothes, I realized at first go that this paper was not good with watercolor layering, as in like you water the gouache down. I pretty much had to go into the drawing with the paint as it is, but I did go into it with lighter colors so it didn't look stark like you see it now. I just think it looks very ugly with those dark lines and don't blend it out. So right now, again, I'm just laying down the darker parts of his clothes, and then I'm going to go in later and lighten it up because it just looked really ugly here, and I believe all paintings have a ugly phase, and this is the ugly phase when it comes to my painting. So yeet. So for me personally, when you're following a reference image, it's all up to you to kind of find and follow all the shadows that you see on a picture. But if I look at Victor's reference picture, it's not really much shading going on, but I'm just like, it'll look ugly if I left it like this. So that's why with me, I decided to blend all the layers out so it looks a little bit more cohesive and cute. So I followed the reference image, but then at the end of the day, I didn't follow it because it would have looked ugly. Like, come on guys, who wants to make your picture look like this every day? You know? So that is pretty much what I'm doing right now. Alrighty, so now I'm going into the blue with the lighter shades to, you know, blended it out. So this is where the white comes into play because just the only way to lighten up gouache paints is white. That is the reason why a lot of people say get you some white paint because you're gonna use it like nobody's business. But for me personally, I don't go on top of the things with white. I actually lighten up the color I use to a light color, and if you go over the darker color lightens up legit, so you don't need to go over the space with white. Just go over the paint in which you use for the darker shade and just add white, and it works beautifully. And I actually really love how I did this. Granted, I had to layer on a lot of paint to give this effect on Victor's clothes because I just didn't want to look I just didn't want to look like rough edged. I wanted all the edges to look very soft. I don't know if I did that 100% correct, but to my satisfaction, I really loved how his jacket turned out. Again, it kind of was very nerve-wracking because it just looks like I'm just adding random highlights, random darker shades, but I think once I get into the line art of this, you kind of see it all come together, you know? So, yeah, and now I'm actually adding filling in the shadows for his hair. I decided to do his hair last because I feel like with his hair, it's just platinum gray, whatever it is. Like, his hair is really not all that, serious. And from the reference picture, I actually used the reference a lot with his hair because I'm like, I just don't want it to be all that busy. I think that's what I went for this. I just wanted it to be simple and just easy to follow. And the process I used for this made it a lot more easier than a lot of people would have made it for themselves, if that makes sense. But yeah, so that is what I'm doing. Alrighty guys, so now I'm going into the line art phase. For me personally, I use the gouache paints themselves as the line art. Normally I would go into my drawings with a black liner and just go at it, but I figured with my gouache paints, I feel like it gives a more softer effect if I go into it with the paint. Granted, I was kind of scared to do this honestly because I'm not used to lining my drawings with paint. So again, once I actually did my first couple of gouache paintings, I kind of got used to it. So I'm not saying I'm a master when it comes to this type of stuff, but I feel like I'm good enough to call myself good, if that makes any lick of sense. So that is why I'm doing, oh my gosh, that is what I'm doing on Victor's clothes. Granted, with his hair, I did not give his hair a heavy outline because I feel like with his hair, leaving it soft was the best idea because it just would have looked weird if I just gave his hair lines. I just wanted to keep it soft and cute and cuddly and all that good stuff. So as you can see, the lines, it's just popping out all the features that I wanted you guys to see a little bit more. So yeah, and I did go over the lines with more shading because again, it looks ugly still. So I'm like, I need to blend this out to make it look a lot more cuter than what it was. So yeah, the line art portion is actually very cute, and hopefully by seeing me do this, guys, hopefully it'll inspire you guys just to line with the paint itself. The gouache is very thick paint, so it's not like it's going to run down your lines. The lines are very thick and consistent, so it just kind of makes the line art portion a lot more easier than it would have been if I actually used a actual liner for this. Alrighty, so now I'm into lining his face and all that good stuff. I was just gonna use, I'm just not use, oh my goodness guys, I'm sorry. I just was gonna let the music play for this portion, but I figured it's a long video clip of me lining, so I figured I'm just gonna give myself a chance just to kind of give some words of wisdom up in here. So like I said in the beginning of my video, fan art is a very touchy subject on the art side of YouTube, because a while ago I heard that fan art is like a easy way to get views and subscribers, which I think is ridiculous. And then now the source of trouble with fan art in the convention scene, because fan art is a way to make quick money. I will say so, I do fan art on my online shop, so I'm not here to say I never do fan art, because I do, guys, I do. But I feel like fan art has kind of a negative connotation to it when it shouldn't really have a negative connotation to it. Fan art is like the most funnest way to just have fun in your sketchbook. I honestly like drawing all of my anime husbandos. I like drawing all my anime waifus. I like drawing all of my in real life Asian husbandos. I love doing that, and I feel like fan art is a way for you to be like, yo, this is what I love, you know? So guys, please don't take fan art as a way that it's negative and you shouldn't do it and you shouldn't feel, you know, proud to show what you've done. Granted, if you actually just copied an image and be like, oh my gosh, this is my drawing, I did this, girl, bye. We all know that you copy the image verbatim and you know, it's not yours. Granted, I did use a reference picture for this, but I'm not claiming it as my own. I'm using it as like reference for this picture, and I'm literally coloring it in a way that it is my own, if you kind of get what I'm saying. So I don't want to sit here and be like, yo, I never do that, because I do. I would be a heavy hypocrite if I told you guys I have never done any of the stuff that I told you that you shouldn't do, because I did when I was a wee little child. But now that I grew older, I realized that, hey, fan art isn't really all that serious. So, again, just have fun in your sketchbook, guys. Do a lot of fan art, and the world would be a lot of a better place. And yeah, so I actually went over Victor's eyebrow, because I found out that his eyebrows are way too dark. So I'm like, let me put some white on top of it to give it a lighter type of hue, because it just looked weird. So hopefully it still looks okay. But I really do like how I did his sideburns. I don't know why, but I love how I did Victor's sideburns. They just look super cute. And I'm like, ah, they look so cute. So yeah. Alrighty, so now we're at the last part of the speed paint, which is the sky. I'm actually very much so disappointed in myself because I feel like I could have left the sky a lot lighter than I did. I kind of went into the sky kind of heavy, and I honestly regret this choice. Like, you see how light it is right here? I should have kept it that way, but I kept adding on layers, so maybe later on, if I'm up to it, I'll go back over it with the white and the light blue just to kind of make it, a little bit more light, because I felt like the blue I went to, it clashed with this jacket, and I'm like, bruh, like, I needed to stop while I was legit very much so ahead of myself. But we all make mistakes, and I would say it's not a happy accident, so I'm sorry, Bob Ross. It's not like it's an accident. I just feel like I just went into it a little bit too dark, and I just felt like I was a little bit too happy with this. But it's whatever. I enjoyed the process of this picture. I enjoyed recording this as a painting for you guys. I do have another gouache painting that I did not finish, unfortunately, but it is going to be a real-time video, but that is only for my patrons only. So if you guys want to get an actual real-time gouache painting that has not been finished, but I will show the actual finished picture at the end, then pledge on my Patreon. You can get it if you pledge $1. You have all access to my real-time videos, because I gotta give patrons exclusive stuff too. I just can't give everyone on here stuff for free, but I'm not gonna sit here and take away videos in which I thought would do well on YouTube. Not doing that, but some things I really just want to keep exclusive to Patreon. So people would think, spending their money on my patron, oh my gosh, people would think spending their money on my Patreon page will be worth it, and not something that you're just like, nah, what is this? So yeah, so my speed paint is actually wrapping up, so I will come back at the end with my final thoughts. But again, I hope you guys really liked the speed paint. I started a new narration style. A lot of people do this, and I'm like, let me try it out, and I kind of like it. So if you guys like me doing my narrations that way, let me know. So I'll see you at the end with my final thoughts. Alrighty guys, so that is it for this video. So let me know down below, what is your thoughts about doing fan art, if you guys enjoy it, if you honestly do think it's a way to stay motivated in your sketchbook. And yeah, so fan art is a good thing, it's not a bad thing, it's only bad in certain situations, but overall fan art is a very lovely way to share your love with something that you love, and it's just very motivating to put in your sketchbook, because you're like, oh my gosh, I want my friends to see that I love Miku today, that I love Inuyasha, all that good stuff. So yeah, now it's all cute at the end of the day. So I will see you guys in my next video, whenever that may be, because I'm going through a lot right now. So my videos may be a little bit slow here and there, but I will try to keep up the pace. But I think I need a break for right now. So if I only upload like once every so often, that's the reason why. So yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.